What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I would like to welcome you all to another edition of Wayne's Perspective, where we operate in discipline, decency, integrity, and respect. And I'm coming through with another video just for you. Okay, as you can see by the title, today's video is going to be an interesting one. It may not be on the lengthy side of things, but it's definitely going to make its points. And with all that being said, we're going to get right into it. Now, even though this video is going to be aimed at men in general, I really want to direct this to my brothers, my fellow black men, and just pretty much go from there and just give out some tips that I think are critical, in present day 2024 and moving forward. Now, I'm pretty sure that most men listening to this have been placed in the friend zone before. I've been placed in the friend zone before, and it's not a good feeling. It's almost the equivalent to being rejected, But then again, you can say being in the friend zone is a form of rejection, if not an outright thorough rejection, if you get what I'm saying. So, and with that being said, let me go ahead and share my screen right quick to give the definition of friend zone, courtesy of the Urban Dictionary. And if you've been on Urban Dictionary, I'm sure you've seen just about everything on that site. So I just want to focus on this part right here. Okay. It says that a particularly aggravating metaphorical place that people end up in when someone they are interested in only wants to be friends. It is impossible to get over someone while in the friend zone because as friends, you still see them too often for them to be erased from your memory, and yet you cannot be with them the way you want. Now, I take slight issue with that second part, but this first part is very notable. A particularly aggravating metaphorical place that people end up in when someone they are interested in only wants to be friends. That's a real true statement. And in a nutshell, that's what being friend zoned is. So, with all that being said, we're going to go ahead and get right into the video. So, now I've been friend zoned, and I do have a recent example that I want to share with everyone. So, just hear me on this one. Okay. Now, at this point, this was in the latter part of 2022. In fact, this was in November of 2022. Now, I'll admit at this point, I was already on the dating apps. I mean, man, I went through so many dating apps in 2022. It's not even funny. You name them, I've been on them. Now, at this point, I think I was on either Hinge or Bumble. But then again, that confirms that I've been on so many of them that I can't even recall which one it was. I want to say it was Hinge, but when I think about the time frame, it may have been Bumble. But either way, it's all good. So I met this lady. I'm not going to mention her name, but this was going into Thanksgiving 2022. Now, we talked on the app, as normal people did. We talked on the app through inboxes, messaging and stuff like that back and forth. Now it was consistent on my end because I was always responding, but she responded when she could. She was basically one of them ladies that was on there not often, but when she came on, she was very active. So one thing led to another. I asked if we could exchange numbers. She was down with that. So, we had some decent conversations. I would say that, she had two kids. I can't recall if they were two kids by two different men or one, but she had two kids. She told me about them. I told her about my son and all that good stuff. So, like I said, overall, the conversations were good. Going into the month of December, the conversations were good. She made an effort to call me. I made an effort to call her, so all systems would go. And I was like, okay, finally, is someone going to stick around? Because at this point in the latter part of 2022, I was already done with the dating apps. So I was basically waiting in the cut, so to speak, for someone to be quote unquote good enough to take me off the dating apps for good. And once that happened, it was no turning back, no going back, because again, I was tired of it. So, like I said, the conversations were good. So then one thing led to another and led to another. And we finally went on a date to bring in 2023. Now, this place was a place not too far from me. I can't think of the name of, you know what? I can't think of the name of. The name of the place was called King Crab. So it was one of them seafood places. So, and again, this was to bring in 2023. So this place was one of the rare places that were open on January 1st, 2023. So when I got there, I waited for a little bit. Now me, I'm not a stickler for time like that. So if a woman happened to show up a few minutes after the fact, that's okay. Now women on the other hand, it's a different story with them. Say you're going to be somewhere at 6 p.m. and you show up at 6:01. They already calling you wondering where the hell you at. Now, previously, I've experienced something like that, and it's never good because to go back and forth about why you're 1 minute late is real pointless to me, and I'm sure it's pointless to all of you listening to this right now, but I digress. But anyway, so I got to the spot and she pulled up, like I said, a few minutes later. And when she saw me, now keep in mind, all of our contact was through text messaging and phone calls. So this was our first in-person meeting. Now I will say, did she look like her pictures? Yes, she looked real good. In fact, she looked better than her pictures. Now when she saw me, she didn't shake my hand, she didn't hug me or anything like that. She shot me a little nervous type smile, and the first thing out her mouth, y'all, I kid y'all not, the first thing that she said was, "Wow, I thought you were going to be taller." Now, right then and there, that should have cut things right there. And looking back on that, I should have ended things right there. But you know what? I was being a good sport, so we went inside. Had the dinner. It was good. The conversations were good. The food was good. Even though she had her phone with her, because of course, being a single mom, you got to keep in contact with your kids, especially when they're with family or a babysitter or whatever. I didn't have an issue with that. And another good thing was that she didn't have her phone out constantly at the table. The only communication that she was doing at the table was involving her kids. So, so it was pretty good overall. If I had to rate it on a scale from 1 through 10, I would probably give it a 7.5 or 8. So after that, I had good feelings about it. I was like, okay, so I'm looking forward to a second one, a second date and stuff like that. Oh yeah, and I did pay for the date. Don't come for me. I paid for the date. It was no debate about that. I went into it knowing that I was going to pay, so no issues there. So a few days later, we still talk about, we talked about the date and things like that. Now I cannot recall if there were ever going to be plans for a second date, but as the week went on, that will become more clear, right? Stay with me here. So we talked for the remainder of the week. Now it was towards the end of the week when she went MIA. So basically what happened is that after, some conversations on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, it was Thursday that, she started to fall back or whatever. And I'm like, I'm wondering what's going on, and it would hit me later, trust me. So, so what happened was, I didn't hear from her on Thursday that much, and I didn't hear from her on Friday. Now, Saturday is when it becomes interesting. So, like I said, at this point, I'm wondering what was going on. And even then, when I was at work and stuff like that, we would still text each other throughout the day. Now, also, if my memory serves me correctly, she was either a teacher or a teacher assistant. So she was in the school system, so she did a thing now. So Saturday gets here, you know, I text her from work. I didn't hear anything. I texted her when I got home, didn't hear anything. Now, I wasn't excessive with my communication at all because I had to learn the hard way that when you're too aggressive with your communication, even if you don't mean to be aggressive with that, that turns women off. So fellas, if you're texting heavily and things like that, just don't do it, because that's going to turn a woman off. Even if your intentions are well, they don't like that. Now, on the flip side, you can say that it's kind of either it's hypocritical or it's a double standard because they can text you ad nauseum and expect you to be okay with that. But with them, you got to walk on eggshells because one text too many, it'll get on their bad side. But that's a whole nother story, y'all. So Saturday, I'm wondering what's going on. Now, she had a thing where if you send them a text or something like that, you can say if the text has been delivered or if it's been read. So there was a couple of times during the day when it said that she was reading the text. So I'm like, okay, you obviously got the damn text. So why you ain't responding? And then, I called a couple of times and I stressed a couple. I didn't blow up her phone. And that's another thing, fellas. Don't blow up a woman's phone. They don't like that. You see, it's interesting that the things that they do they expect you to be accepting of that. But when you turn around and do it in reverse, even if your intentions are well, it's a turnoff. So it's like you got to balance things the best way you know how, so that you're doing it with the best intentions, but you don't want to come off as being aggressive, even though it's not aggressive per se. But I digress. So Saturday night, it didn't ruin my day or whatever, but it was really interesting because not that long ago we was communicating consistently. So as the evening came, I did something. Now, do I regret this? No, but I had to do this, y'all, because it was the only way that I could see what was going on. Now, this was a little simpish of me, but just bear with me. So now my son, at the time, I believe he was, let's see, this was 2022. So I believe he was 16 at this point. Now, he has a cell phone, an iPhone to be exact. So I called him. I was like, Jaheem, that's my son's name. I was like, I'm going to give you this phone number, and I want you to call this number. And if somebody answers, don't say anything other than, oops, I'm sorry, I got the wrong number. So I gave him the number, and he said, okay. And he texted me back. He says, yeah, Dad, someone answered. And I was like, wow, okay. So I see what's going on here. So you get my text messages, they're delivered and they're read, no response. I call from my phone, you're not answering. But when my son calls, you answer. Okay, all right. So okay. So I know what was going on. So then we get to Sunday. There was no communication on Sunday. So then I get a text message Monday morning at work. Now I'm paraphrasing. I wish I would have kept this text message for explanation purposes, but she sends me a text in the morning, and this is the gist of what she said. And like I said, I'm paraphrasing. She says the usual, number one, she had to process how she was feeling. Fellas, if you hear a woman say that she got to process her feelings, you need to move accordingly. And I'm going to talk more about moving accordingly in this video, but you need to do what you got to do if a woman says that, because, with women being so flaky and fragile and fickle, not all of them, but some of them, with them acting like that, you don't want to be waiting around for them to process any damn thing, because, you could be waiting and waiting and waiting. And, God only knows how long it takes them to process their feelings. So again, when you hear something like that, whether it's verbally or if you see it in the text message, move accordingly. Don't be waiting around. Was I the victim of that at one time? Yes, but I wised up. But okay. So she basically was like, she had to process how she was feeling. Then she talked about the date. She said the date was nice. I'm a nice guy, and this and that, but she did not get a intimate attraction when we was at the table, which pretty much confirmed that women almost know from jump if they're going to sleep with you or not, So she said that, and then she also threw in there, well, we can still be friends. We can still be friends if you want to pursue a friendship. You know what? I read it. I chuckled. I deleted the text message. I did not respond at all. I deleted the text message. The pictures that she sent me, I deleted them. I deleted her out my phone, and I moved on. Nothing else. So I was like, okay, so it makes sense now. That's why you weren't communicating with me going into the weekend. That's why you weren't answering my phone calls. That's why you didn't respond to my text, because at that point, she already made up her mind, all right, no big deal, a bitter pill to swallow in a sense, but, it's all good. It happens, Now, I wasn't stressed. I wasn't frustrated. I simply moved on it and didn't look back. It didn't make me stop eating. It didn't put me in a funk or anything like that. I was like, that's the nature of the game, especially when you doing things on dating apps, And it also brings back to like that whole notion of, I thought you were going to be taller. Yeah, she probably was one of them. But anyway, so that's my example from January 2013. And I guarantee you, if she's still single right now, I can only imagine why. But that's another story. So with that being said, I'm going to get to my points that I want to make in addition to what I've already said. So first things first, fellas, if you get a message like that I just described, that friend zone thing through a text message, do not respond. I repeat, do not respond. There is no negotiating or anything like that. She put you in the friend zone. It's actually, it's a reason why she did that. Do not negotiate and do not try to talk it out, because it's nothing celebratory or anything related to being in a damn friend zone. It's not, no negotiations or nothing. You do not pursue anything, because if you get in the friend zone, you're going to be stuck there. And like I said, she put you there for a reason. Just don't even bother with anything resembling a follow-up. Just don't do it. Next, remove any and everything out of your phone. So I don't care how good the pictures may look, take them out. Take her number out. If you want to block the number, that's on you. But anything that revolved around her, take it out. Delete the pictures, delete the text messages, delete her number, and move on. Plain and simple. Do not keep anything in your phone. Don't do it. Because if you keep it in your phone, that's going to give you the urge to try to contact her down the road to see if everything is okay. No, she put you in the friend zone. No, it's no reason to continue on. And this ain't no game here. It ain't no test or anything. Well, let me see if he do this, and maybe if he reaches back out to me, maybe I'll take him out the friend zone. No, we're not doing that. 2024, we're not playing no games like that. So I just wanted to say that. So then that goes into the next point. Like I said earlier, move accordingly. If you're placed in the friend zone, and especially if you get that whole let's be friends or let's pursue a friendship, move accordingly. Do not look back. Just don't. It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. Do your thing. Even if you may take a little bit of time to get back out there and see what's out there, do that. But again, move accordingly. Move like a grown-ass man. All right? And last but not least, fellas, if she calls back or reaches out to you in any form, reject it. Plain and simple. It's no communication. It's no negotiating. Nothing. If she calls back, realizing that she messed up, and now after the fact, after she has some clarity and an epiphany and all this other stuff, and she processed her feelings that she want to give it another shot, no, absolutely not. Don't do it. No conversation, no nothing. Even if it's not in your nature to ignore someone, do it in this case, because nothing good is going to come of that. She friend zoned you for a reason. Now, it's not to say that there may not be hope for a second chance. Now, that's on you. If you decide to give her a second chance, that's on you, but be prepared for the consequences that come from that, because if she put you in the friend zone once, she'll put your ass in the friend zone again. And there's nothing worse than being put in the friend zone twice. What's that saying? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, or something like that, So you definitely don't want to get into a situation like that. So like I said, overall, fellas, do not respond to a friend zone text. It's no negotiating, no nothing. You know how the United States has a policy. They don't negotiate with terrorists. In men's case, black men's case, we do not negotiate being put in the friend zone. That needs to go viral right there. We do not negotiate being put in the friend zone. It's no good that comes from that. It's nothing special or celebratory about being friend zone. The woman don't want you. All right, okay, but look, hell, have no fear if you put a woman in the friend zone. Oh, hell, sheesh. But okay, but like I said, don't respond, don't negotiate, remove any and everything that may have been in your phone regarding this woman, move accordingly. And if she calls you back or reaches out to you down the line, reject it. And again, that depends on the person. But again, you do not want to put yourself in a situation where you're going to be friend zoned twice. But there's some slight hope there. It may be a little contradictory, but there's some slight hope there that if a woman reaches out to you and her intentions are sincere, go with your gut feeling. I'll say that if your gut feeling is telling you to give it a shot, give it a shot. But overall, if your gut feeling ain't telling you that, move on, move accordingly. That's the whole thing, And last but not least, in 2024, the age of the simp is over. And that's that. So with all that being said, y'all, if you like what you heard and you're ready to become part of Team Discipline, go ahead and hit that like button. And in the comments, fellas, let me know what you think. Do you think my list was spot on? Do you think I left out a few things? Do you not like the list at all? Let me know. We can have a discussion on this one because it's relevant to today. So many brothers are being friend zoned and being stuck in there, and we got to end that, y'all. We got to end that. And last but not least, hit that subscribe button along with the bell so you're notified when I drop new videos. And until next time, my people, take care of yourselves. And remember, not only is the power of the mind always valuable, but it's not valuable, celebratory, or special to be in anyone's friend zone. Bottom line, y'all.